In a local temple called the Temple of Solomon, there used to be an inscription which told of Yusasaf's claim, made about 50 AD, to be Jesus, the prophet from Israel.
तमाम कश्मीर की तारीखों में यही लिखा है कि ये बाहर से आया है, ये प्रॉफिट था, ये पैगंबर था, इसराइल से आया, मुस्लिम से अंदर बॉर्डर में आया है, तो फिर यही तबलीग कर रहा है। वही जीसस है, वही मसीह है, जिनके रोज़ा के मायने हैं जो कोड़ी के मर्ज में हूँ, उनको शिफा देने वाला, उनका इलाज करने वाला जो शफायात हुए, उसको रोज़ा के दूसरे मायने हैं कि रोज़ा के दूसरे मायने हैं जमा करने वाला।
Yusasaf continued to teach and to preach in Kashmir until he died around the year 80 AD. He was buried in Srinagar. And this rather modest building is, they say, his tomb. The first shrine erected around the site was built in 112 AD. In fact, it is now a shared gravesite. In the 15th century, the Islamic holy man Syed Nazir ud-Din was also buried here. Although both the gravestones under the cloth point north-south in the Islamic tradition, the body of Yusasaf is buried beneath in a grave dug east-west in the Jewish tradition. But this is a sacred site, and short of exhumation, there is no way of discovering whether the body buried here is that of a man who once survived crucifixion. However, next to the sarcophagus are the carved footprints of Yusasaf, and they do have marks or scars on them.
Footprints were carved as a sign. The scars are clearly visible as a state as he was nailed to the cross. They show that this is the same person who came from Israel, and that he lived and died here. You won't find any footprints like these anywhere else in Kashmir.
The position of the scars, just behind the toes, do not match each other, but they would align if a single nail was driven through both feet with the left foot placed on top of the right. There are many who believe this to be the tomb of Jesus. If this is the tomb of Jesus, then he spent most of his life in the mountain kingdom of Kashmir.
In conclusion then, it is clear that the logical and historical reality is that Jesus survived the crucifixion, migrated from his land of persecution, was hailed in India and its surrounding regions as Yusasaf, a great prophet. The Gospels, what I've tried to do is to show that the Gospels and the events recorded therein, the Quran and the Hindu scriptures, in other words, the three biggest religions of the world, all testify to this. Jesus was a real figure of history, and yet he is rarely treated as such. The historical reality of Jesus, the Jesus, who walked upon the earth, attended the needs of his body, ate, drank, slept, felt pain, felt hunger, is that like all other people, he also died. Many would be of the opinion that this would detract from the greatness of Jesus. Many would say that this is a fall in stature from being the Son of God to the Son of Man. However, we do not believe that it is so. The greatness of Jesus lies in that despite being human, and no more than a human, he succeeded where lesser men would have failed. His greatness lies in his steadfastness unto even the jaws of death, and his unflinching courage in the face of extreme persecution. There are many who believe that Jesus' greatest miracle consisted in rising from the dead, but this in truth was not the miracle that he claimed for himself. The miracle he claimed for himself was the miracle of Jonah. Jesus prophesied that he too, like Jonah, would show the miracle of survival, not resurrection. And so he did. He prophesied that he would go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and so he did, with his migration to India, Afghanistan, and the surrounding regions where the descendants of the 10 tribes of Israel can still be found. He prophesied the success of his mission in that foreign land in his words, "They shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd." And so it happened. He was supremely successful. For while he was not accepted by 2 of the tribes of Israel that inhabited Palestine, he was accepted wholeheartedly by the other 10. In fact, to this day, 2,000 years later, the people of Kashmir and the surrounding regions still treat his tomb with the great reverence and love owed to a spiritual teacher. These are the true miracles of Jesus Christ, and what awe-inspiring miracles they are. And you can find the book, Jesus in India, that's a PDF you can find online. You can get it, well, they're free here. Not these books, these green ones are free. These are somebody's personal stuff, so don't take them, please. You can take these ones. This was the first book that expounded this theory and discovered the tomb of, well, we can say the alleged still tomb of Jesus Christ. But I have plenty of evidence, as you've seen. To read The Crucifixion by an Eyewitness, this letter, all you need to do is type it into Google Books, onto the Google Books web search, and it's the first one that comes up. And the BBC4 documentary is available on YouTube by typing in Jesus and in India. And that's all I have to say about that. I'm sure that as this is, are there any questions, basically? I throw it open. If anybody wants to ask a question, they're free to do so.
Or if they want to come down and have a chat with us, if they don't want to say a question out loud, they can come down and have a chat with us afterwards.
Okay, with that letter that was later issued, did you say that was, what was the date that you said that was written originally?
7 years after the crucifixion.
7 years after the crucifixion, and it refers to the Gospels of Mark and Luke having already been written at that point?
Yes.
Okay, that's kind of an interesting one.
But it does. It says that Matthew. It says that Matthew. It doesn't say anything. It says that Matthew and John haven't yet written anything, but that Mark and Luke had.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So
Cool.
what's the earliest example of Mark and Luke then, if you said it was already written?
Sorry?
Because it wasn't. What's the earliest example of